Hi, thanks for being here. You're listening to A Conversation with Jordyn. That's me. I hope you enjoy the episode. Hey podcast, it's fun to be back this week. I have had the most productive weekend / 3 days because the productivity has continued of it feels like my life. As somebody who enjoys checking off to-do lists, this has been one of those weekends where I feel very satisfied in that regard. Though I definitely cannot sustain the speed to which I've been working forever, or it is a sure gateway to burnout, for sure. I have the ability to focus really hard and really in when I choose to, but sometimes that focus can turn into like endless productivity. And that's just how my personality is. This isn't because I feel like I need to. That momentum works for me. I can keep going and going once I have something figured out. On the other side of things, I really don't feel good when I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I fall into decision fatigue very quickly, which I kind of think I've talked about on this podcast. Maybe it was literally the last episode. But I can get really tired when, especially like me being the one who organizes my entire life, my whole business, there's not a lot of structure set up for me. I have to create my own structure for everything. And I operate really well under structure. I'm that kind of person who would rather be the employee than the boss. Like, you can just tell me what to do rather than having to delegate tasks to someone else. I'd rather be the one getting delegated tasks to. That's just how I've always been in my whole life. So it's funny that I put myself in a position in which I have to make all the decisions for my life, because that really, decisions burn me out quite quickly. But I'm sharing that to say I'm really proud of some of the adjustments that I've made this week. I knew that I had to get a lot done, and I knew that I wanted to get a lot done on top of having to. There are things I chose to prioritize to get done for my future self to be very happy and more at peace by having a bank of resources that I could tap into rather than always having to create or make in the moment and fit that into my current schedule. So let me pause and take you back to what I was really meaning, because I was about to go on a point without getting to the point. I'm sorry. Once again, I started this podcast without any plan, and I'm just speaking from the heart, very immediately, and yeah, my words aren't working right now. All right, restart. Okay, I'm gonna even put one more tangent in there. Sometimes I think it's funny to listen back to me saying things like my words aren't working, because I feel like you as a listener might not have even assumed that, and then I just said it, and now it's making you think about it, and the more I talk about it, the more that you think about it, and I just think it's a funny human thing that we kind of all do. And I've just brought so much attention to this, but I feel like we bring attention to the things that we're perceiving to not be going right in our brain. And when you listen to it later, you're like, wow, I was articulating just fine. I see this happen. I'm a big voice messenger, and I voice message with quite a few people here and there. And I mean, not at the... Wow, I really derailed myself on this podcast from what I was saying. I will get back to my point. But I voice messaged people throughout the years. I don't voice message people all day long. I don't have the time for that. Throughout the years, I voice messaged different people. And I often feel like a lot of people get to this point of wondering if they said anything clearly. I'm like, wow, you were really clear. You just kind of assumed you weren't. And I feel like that's kind of the experience of a podcast and me saying all of that. Anyway, I have a big temptation to want to start this podcast over because I really didn't feel like getting into that point, but you heard it. Maybe that resonated with one of you. One of you felt validated because I said that, and so I'll just leave it in there. Let me get back to what I was actually saying. Okay, so earlier this week, I was feeling truly just overwhelmed by the amount of things that I wanted to focus on. How do I build my business? How do I make a sustainable business? How do I shift and continue to pursue this dream that I have and make it sustainable when I need to like figure out all of these other things. Like I need to learn and look into SEO for my website more. I need to create more quote content. I don't really like that term, but it is what it is. To get my business like going, because if I care for people to join my online community, people have to know about the online community. I have to talk about it. And those are things that I easily drop and just kind of put to the side once some momentum gets going. I kind of have this habit and this pattern of momentum starts and then I stop just because I burn myself out. I get tired. Because when you don't have like a good sustainable system built up for yourself, it's easy to fall into that pattern. So anyway, this week I started to write out something that has never worked for me in the past, but I'm going to try it again. I was writing out a schedule for myself that would time block some of my days, because I'm like, as an individual business owner, I've always known this, and I do this already, but even more so, I need to treat my business as a business. Like, I have to show up and do the work at a certain time like I would be expected if I were to work a normal 9 to 5. And so I started to time block out my schedule, and even though I don't really have the ability to follow my time blocked out schedule right now, just because of what's happening in my current life, just getting into that framework of what do I need to do and what do I need to prioritize again, and seeing it in a visual way, even though I'm not really a visual learner, it really helped this time. And doing that right before this weekend, seeing everything that I wanted to accomplish, like, led me into the most productive weekend ever. And yes, I worked this weekend. I don't recommend working on weekends necessarily. I think rest is just as productive as work. But I have family coming in, and I want to prioritize time with them. And so I wanted to bank load a lot of my work prior so that I could really enjoy time with them. And so I said, I'm going to get kind of like a weekend like rest with them in the coming days during my week, so I can use this weekend to work. And I don't know, it just has felt really good. I'm even amazed that I'm getting a podcast created right now, because I really didn't think that was going to happen. I've done so much in the past 3 days that, podcast is not my top priority. It's something that's just a fun creative outlet for me. But it's, and I say creative, like, you might not even think it's creative. To me, it's a different type of my brain creative. Like, I do creative things all day. I'm literally working on a video right now that I'm going to go right back to after I film this podcast. I just had this set up for the video I was filming, so I decided, well, how perfect. I can easily record a podcast with the same setup I have for the video. I currently have the tripod. I'm looking for those watching the video podcast. I have a bed in my office right now, just this mattress, because my family's coming into town, and this is where I'm going to sleep instead of my own bedroom. And my tripod is sitting on the mattress on the bed right in front of me. Fun little fact. I just think it's kind of fun to know the behind the scenes of things. This is real life. This is my real life. Yeah, there's so much that goes on daily. It blows my mind. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I feel like the point that I just wanted to make in this podcast is just spending time, how worth it is to spend some time to find what works for you. I was feeling so just kind of down on myself and just not very happy with myself, because I was entering my day so unstructured that I was still doing a lot of good things, but because I didn't have any structure surrounding it, I felt kind of aimless, like I had no direction for what I was doing daily. And just the shift of writing out a structure for myself has made me feel very accomplished, rather than like, I could have done all the same things on another weekend and probably felt way worse about it because it was just aimless tasks that I was doing. And this time I like accomplished the tasks that I actually set out to do. And there's like some sort of internal reward for that experience that feels really good. So I don't know. I don't have expert advice here or anything. I'm just kind of, like I said, I don't even know who listens to this podcast. I just kind of record just to record. It's almost like a time capsule for me to go back and listen to my own thoughts and be like, oh, interesting. I was thinking that way at that time. I still do that, or I've grown from that. That's really cool. I think it's cool to listen back to some of my thoughts. But the thing is, like, these are thoughts happening just in this hour. I could be thinking something different in the next 2 hours. That's what's funny. But yeah, it reminded me, today I watched back a old video of mine and that I put out on YouTube, and it was like so interesting to watch one of my old videos and be like, wow, my thoughts during that time, like I'm kind of really proud of that. That was really cool what I did back then, and I totally forgot about those thoughts, and I need my own reminder of, I literally like said something to myself in that video of like, when you forget this, watch this and remember this again. And I needed that. My current me, my past me knew that my current me might need that again. And I think that's really cool. That's kind of what some of this podcast is for me. I think I've been considering, I don't know, maybe shifting this podcast into something a little bit more dialed in. But I don't know if I want to do that yet. I don't want this podcast to feel like an obligation. This is just something I show up to for and put out there for the benefit of whoever does benefit from it, you know? I've seen some of your comments and I just want to say thank you. I'm like the worst at responding to comments. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's just a task that is hard for me to get to. What's funny is, it's not because I don't care at all. Like, if there's anything that means the most to me, it's people interaction through this online endeavor. But the whole reason I'm a voice messenger, maybe this is the whole reason I had to talk about that in this podcast, for you to understand that I send voice messages. Otherwise, that everything I said there kind of felt like a really unnecessary tangent. But the reason I send voice messages is to my own friends and family. Texting out my thoughts is so not fun for me. I am somebody who would rather type. Well, that was gonna sound like the opposite. My brain just works too fast for my hands or my, like, to type or to write. It's so much easier for me to express the emotion, the intention, and everything if I can talk it out versus type it out or write it out. And so if I could voice message, return comment back to all of your comments, I would respond to so many more of them. That's the whole reason though I created like an online community, because it was my one way to actually connect with people online, like face to face, at least like over screen face to face and or voice message. It's just how I operate. I do so much better that way. So yeah, that's me. That's a little insight into me. I'm not gonna make this podcast long. The truth is, you don't need to know this, but I've got a killer headache right now. I've been working probably way too hard. I should just go enjoy the sunset, honestly, at this moment. I'm looking forward to the rest that's coming. I definitely need it. It feels great to be productive, but rest is just as productive, so that will be coming up soon. Cool. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I hope you have a really wonderful day. Per usual, try to seek out something to be grateful for. As always, this life is a gift. It's a huge gift to get to be living it. Today is a gift. I guess I have one more thing to say. I was pretty stressed about some random little things today, and the best thing I was able to do for myself is just read scripture and to remember that God is just good and this life is not worth worrying about. It's not worth stressing. Stress can be effective and productive in some cases, but for the most part, like, stress it's just not worth it. Like, the perspective that helps me is if I were to die today, like, what do I really want to be concerned about? What's worthy of being concerned about and stressed about? If so, I can be stressed about that. If not, then just actually be grateful for the day and enjoy the gift. These are things I tell myself all the time. And something I really needed today because I was very tempted to be annoyed and stressed at certain things that came up in my day. So, anyway, great. Well, you are awesome. I believe it, even though I may not know you directly and personally. You're awesome because you were created to be awesome. You've got a wonderful story. And yeah, I hope today can treat you somewhat well. I hope it is a blessing, even if it's a rougher one. Or just a wonderful day. Alright. I'll catch you on the next episode, whenever that comes out. hopefully next week, but probably maybe not actually because my family will be here and I want to spend some good quality time with them. But hopefully soon. Okay. Bye, guys.